Several agreements were exchanged between India and Sri Lanka, and there were a lot of areas where cooperation will be done between both the nations. Cooperation in maritime security and defense. India will also extend support in housing, renewable energy sectors, and will also support in development of agriculture and fisheries sector. In fact, Prime Minister Modi extended his best wishes to President Dissanayake for his visit to Bodh Gaya during his stay in India. And earlier in the day, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Sri Lanka's President Dissanayake held talks at Hyderabad House in New Delhi. The two leaders held a discussion on an extensive agenda encompassing trade, investment, development and security. Leaders also held delegation-level talks covering wide area of mutual interests. India and Sri Lanka share a strong civilizational and historical connect with focus on maritime security, economic partnerships, along with deep cultural connects. All right, and Dr. Gulbin Sultana, Associate Fellow, IDSA Expert, Sri Lanka, is joining me on the broadcast. Hello, ma'am. First of all, a very warm welcome to the broadcast. To begin with, how do you see President Dissanayake's visit to India, his first overseas visit after being elected president in September?
Thank you for inviting me for this discussions. And first of all, I would like to mention whatever view I'm going to share, it will be my personal view. Regarding this visit, I think it's a positive development because there has been a trend that Sri Lankan president, their maiden visit is usually to India. And there are lots of apprehensions because of JVP's past approach towards India, that how would this bilateral relationship take shape under President Anura Kumara Dissanayake. But as President has himself mentioned that he is happy to visit India as his first visit, official visit. That is a positive development. It shows that he is ready to work with India. So I see it a positive development. And as we saw in the press conference, various areas of cooperation they have mentioned, both the leaders. In my personal view, these are like basically reiteration of the existing cooperation both India and Sri Lanka was having, and this shows that there is a commitment and intention to strengthen the bilateral relationship on the part of both the leaders. So as of now, I see it a positive development. Now, in the future, we have to see how much, how they are going to be implemented. Because if we see India-Sri Lanka relationship, I think that becomes an issue while it comes on implementation. So we'll have to wait and see how they are being implemented.
Okay, it is certainly a positive visit, like you've just mentioned, and also in areas of cooperation in maritime security and defense. And India will certainly extend support in housing, renewable energy in sectors. How do you see that?
We have already existed, as I mentioned before. These are not the new areas. We have been providing assistance. In fact, in terms of defense, I think that is one of the area where India, India and Sri Lanka bilateral cooperation, if you see, defense is one of the strongest area of cooperation between the two countries. And maritime security cooperation, because Sri Lanka is one of the important maritime neighbors other than Maldives. So the maritime security is a very important both for India and Sri Lanka's security is concerned, and and that aspect, when both the leaders they have reiterated their commitment to continue the cooperation and strengthen the relation further. I think that is a positive development. As President himself has mentioned about Colombo Conclave and maritime security, even hydrography, he has mentioned that hydrographic cooperation. So these are the positive areas. I hope that there will be, they will be able to continue and implement. I think in my emphasis will be on the implementation of whatever agreement they have signed. That is that.
And also, ma'am, what's your take on India's role in Sri Lanka's economic recovery and also India's neighborhood first policy?
I think during economic crisis, India has been one of the crucial partner. And if you see the new administration in Sri Lanka, the NPP government, their foreign policy reflects reflect the national interest of Sri Lanka. And as both Prime Minister of Sri Lanka and President of Sri Lanka in various public statement has mentioned that at this point of time, their main national interest is stabilize the economy and working towards the path of economic recovery. And India, since the beginning of the crisis, India has provided extensive cooperation, extensive assistance to Sri Lanka, and I think all Sri Lankans, not only from government, even the civil society, common people, everybody appreciate and acknowledge that fact. And India, as today also we heard from Prime Minister Modi, that India is going to continue to cooperate in this area, along with other areas. And President himself also sought assistance in this area, particularly in terms of investment and trade. So I think that reiteration is a positive development. And I think for Sri Lanka, it's for economic, they want a sustainable solution, right? And it's not just debt restructure and all. So they have been looking for, how to invest, because they need investment if they have to continue the path of recovery, economic growth and all. So investment is important. They need to see how they can increase the export. These are the areas where India and they sought assistance. Sri Lankan president sought assistance, and India has agreed to provide assistance. Digitization, another area where India has already been providing UAD and all. India has already provided assistance. So that areas have been reiterated, and I hope that there will be some positive development. And interestingly, because even many of within Sri Lanka also there are Sri Lankan economists and civil society members, particularly after the economic crisis, they also have acknowledged the fact that it is important for Sri Lanka to, integrate with, into improve trade and investment relations with India because of India's growing economy and market. Even though we also heard about some of the, opposition, and often there are opposition whenever there is some talk of signing economic agreement comes between the two countries. But despite that, positive, I see some positive approach from Sri Lankan civil society also, that no, we need to probably in the economic area also we need to work with India for Sri Lanka's growth and development. So I hope since it came from President of Sri Lanka, it's a positive development, because earlier in many areas they opposed some of the areas, while previous government wanted to sign agreements with India. But since now President has said he wants to work,
it is certainly very positive.
Development.
Definitely. We leave there. Thank you so much for your valuable time and for joining in on the broadcast.